827 FM and WTTN 1580.
Lefty Talk Radio for the bougie and urbanite twat.
Are you a small business owner or professional that would like to be featured in your own weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil Radio?
Guys, can you
Let
hear me?
us help you in your business. Team with our broadcast professional weekly Ask the Expert radio segment or show on Devil
Can
Radio.
you guys hear me?
Let us help you in your business.
Yep, we got you.
Team with our
Okay.
broadcast professional.
I don't have a great bandwidth because the kids are home with the snow. And watching, they're streaming something. So
Amateurish
I'm keeping
as
my
fuck.
camera off. I don't have a great bandwidth because turn it on.
Crazy local music supporters have surrounded the studio. Take a look.
What do the signs say?
Support local music. Double dipping is a right. And I love the Jimmies.
Oh, yeah,
What do
dude.
they want?
Live local music, Jimmy. Catch Maxing Radio every Saturday evening for the best of local music from Wisconsin. Live music performed in the Devil's Lair. Go to MaxInkRadio.com for the live music schedule. It's Maxink Radio, Saturdays at 6 on Devil Radio 92.7.
Give them what they want.
Donahue with an AP News Minute. President Biden made his first trip to the State Department since taking office.
America is back. America
Lockdown?
is back.
You mean forced to wear
Diplomacy
masks?
is back.
Forced to wear
It's the
masks?
center of our foreign policy.
The president said he wants to work things out diplomatically, but the U.S. will stand up when needed.
I made it clear to President Putin, in a manner very different from my predecessor, that the days of the United States rolling over in the face of Russia's aggressive actions, interfering with our elections, cyber attacks, poisoning its citizens are over.
The president says he'll stop the withdrawal of U.S. troops stationed in Germany, end support for Saudi Arabia's military offensive in Yemen, and make support for LGBTQ rights,
Beta!
cornerstone of democracy. President
Oh,
Trump
guys,
announced the
I was
pullback
also
in
I was
Germany
able to push
after
my
repeatedly
next thing
accusing the
back. So if
German
you want to go
government of
beyond
not paying enough for its
248,
own
I can give you
defense.
more time.
I'm Ed Donahue.
Last night's sleep interrupted
This is
by
Lefty
pain.
Radio, by the way.
Tonight, silence it.
Local
With
Lefty
no
Radio
Zequel
out of
night pain.
Madison. They're
Restful
going to talk about
sleep,
Christian
now with powerful
nationalism.
Pain relief. Zequel Night Pain combines America's #1
Big
sleep
ol'
aid
scary
with a
Christian
maximum strength
nationalism.
Pain reliever, so you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never
Big
get in
ol'
the way of a
scary
great
Christian
night's sleep.
nationalism,
New
baby.
Zequel Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Ready to meet people who love to do the same things you do?
Making pizza with someone who's as into it as me? What could be better?
How about we share a bottle of wine? Our Time is the #1 dating site made for singles over 50. It's easy to use and can help you find people who are ready to do something fun. Today, even doing the simple things are better together.
A walk and some ice cream with someone sounds like the perfect treat.
Find someone over 50 who loves to do what you do on Our Time. Start for free at ourtime.com today.
Of course, these guys are schlepping face masks on the air.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines for Thursday, February 4th. The Republican-led State Assembly plans to convene at 10 a.m. today to once again send the repeal of the statewide mask mandate back to the state
based.
Senate. Speaker Robin Vos
Is it gonna
said
work?
if the resolution passes today, the amended package could be taken up by the Senate when it meets again in mid-February. As we did our due diligence, legislative attorneys and conservative legal experts confirmed the Senate amendment had unintended consequences and would actually expand the governor's emergency powers, Speaker Vos said in a statement. The Assembly now plans to repeal that amendment. A winter mix of rain and snow is expected this morning, continuing throughout the day. A winter weather advisory is in effect until noon tomorrow. Expected accumulation is 3 to 6 inches of snow and icy conditions. You're listening to Devil Radio.
Warning, listening to the Devil's Advocates may expose you to opposing views.
Fucking gay.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we welcome
Oh,
back
yeah.
a fine guest. He is Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic
Seidel.
Response Freedom from Religion Foundation. Andrew, welcome back to the Devil's Advocates.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
A snow day
Gator.
here in the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
Apparently, hell may have frozen over. But,
Oh, yeah, there.
sir, let's talk
Nobody
about
listens
the-
to Lefty
the-
Radio.
The context of
Oh.
the Capitol insurrection and those that participated, and what role sort of Christian nationalism might have played in that. I'll let you lead, Andrew. What do you think the role
He's
of
gonna lie about the
Christianity
Groypers, watch.
was in this insurrection?
I mean, I think the role of Christian nationalism was absolutely central, right? I mean, Christian nationalism, for people who aren't familiar with that term, it's not a scholarly debate about where our country came from or how we were founded. It's a sinister exclusionary movement. The goal is to redefine America according to the Christian nationalist identity.
It was always Christian. It was white. What?
And basically, Christian nationalists say, look, we were founded as a Christian nation. We were based on Judeo-Christian principles.
White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
We've strayed from that foundation. We've got to get back to our godly roots. And they use this language of return and this striving and fighting for return to that godly founding to justify all kinds of things, including the insurrection that we saw on January 6th.
Putting their feet up on the desk.
Andrew,
oh my
how
God.
does victimhood play in? I mean, I know it's a tool of fascists to tell people be the victims and here's who you blame, but how's that factor into their, God-fearing Christianity?
Fucking 100% projection.
The majority in the country, and they've been told for decades that they are instead this persecuted minority.
I
think you really saw. I mean, there was two elements. If you go
told
back
they have privilege everywhere.
The entitlement that these insurrectionists felt as they are attacking the very heart of our democracy. It really boils down to kind of two things: race and religion. I mean, these
guys turn a blind eye. Oh my God!
Christians. They were the majority in both senses. They felt that majority. They felt entitled. Continually saying, "This is our house." I mean, they believed they were acting not just on Trump's orders, but on God's orders to make America a Christian nation again. That is what they were off to do. I mean, they had signs: Jesus saves. They had "In God We Trust," "Make America godly again." They
think this is bad. Like, they think this is in and of itself bad to have "In God We Trust" and "In Jesus' name," all that.
The Appeal to Heaven flag, "Proud American Christian." We saw the Proud Boys kneeling in prayer before they attacked the Capitol.
We saw cops kneeling for Black Lives Matter. Okay, they barely attacked the Capitol, by the way. Proud Boys did not attack the Capitol.
People who were actually in the Senate chamber kneeling in prayer. My favorite / least favorite was the flag that said "Jesus, my savior, Trump, my president." Right? I mean, the thread of Christian nationalism here, it cannot.
What's wrong with that?
Be ignored. And I'm glad to say that
they just repeat the slogans and just like they're self-evidently bad. Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. Like, what is?
Finally, it seems.
What's the problem with that exactly?
And the media are starting to wake up to the threat that this poses. I published my book in May of 2019, and it's not often that you have a subtitle of a book that says "Christian nationalism is un-American," and then 18 months later, the Christian nationalists attack the U.S. Capitol and just prove you right. It's not often that you get that lucky.
Well, under that circumstance, please don't write any more books. You talked about the history.
I want to call into these guys, but I want to figure out. I don't want to give them my number. That's the thing.
Violence. I'm quite aware of the sovereign citizen movement, and they've had a history of
sovereign citizens. So these guys are just pivoting to extreme outliers and like, oh my God, and they're of course conveniently ignoring Antifa terrorizing people for months on end because they're liars. All they do is lie.
The Christian nationalism movement. What's their prior track record?
I mean, so Christian nationalism has been around for a long time. There have been various waves of Christian nationalism throughout U.S. history.
Are they calling this Christian nationalism because they've cried wolf about white nationalism so many times that it doesn't stick anymore? It doesn't play? Is that why they're saying Christian nationalism?
And this is something
they're trying to like rebrand, or they're trying to say that anyone Catholic or within the Christian diaspora or what have you. They're going to try to make you associate that with supremacy of some kind.
That I really do get into.
Usually white supremacy.
There was a wave in the lead up to and during the Civil War. It's actually part of the reason we likely ended up having the Civil War in the first place. There was another one in the 1950s when we got things like "Under God" added to the Pledge of Allegiance, and "In God We Trust" put on our coins in the Capitol Prayer Room and the National Day of Prayer.
So what?
And historically, we've seen it
How does that disprove that the founding fathers talked about how, white men of good character and, white Anglo-Saxon founded sort of system, were they, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, but also like Roman Catholic, Irish Catholic, Germanic, Lutheran perhaps, but like, yeah.
Rear its head.
How does this, like, In God We Trust being added to the dollar in the 50s, like, how does that disprove any of that?
During times of national fear and crisis. And it often likes to take advantage of those times of national fear and crisis. And
meanwhile, you didn't see it, but earlier, this greaseball right here was doing, like, a bit on, oh, yeah, buy our sponsored masks, unless you want to die from COVID-19. Yeah, taking advantage of a crisis, right? Politicizing a crisis like the fucking cold.
Certainly is an intense tie-in.
Politicizing a crisis of, like, uneducated, angry Blakes who think that cops are trying to murder them because of idiots like you, so they go burn cities to the ground. And then now all of a sudden you're crying crocodile tears over LARPers putting their feet up on the desks. Dude, I gotta get a fake number so I can call in these fuckers. I gotta figure out.
With violence.
And the violence
again,
done by the right, not really,
history.
dude.
A lot of those militia groups that you mentioned believe that they're defending their God-given rights. Jericho March was one of the groups that was at the Capitol. They certainly wouldn't call themselves violent. The organizers of this wouldn't say that, but they've named themselves after the biblical Battle of Jericho, in which an entire population is slaughtered, right? The Battle of Jericho is actually a genocide in which the biblical God commands his warriors to sack a town and then kill and burn everything in it. And
you fucking fly communist hammer and sickle flags, okay? What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
What? 7 times to get the walls to fall down, and they were circling the Capitol, blowing that same horn, right? I mean, so while they may not have been expressly calling for violence, the illusion was very clear for any Christian or anybody who's read the Bible to see.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response from the Freedom from Religion Foundation. He's a constitutional attorney, author of the Founding Myth. And Andrew, thanks for joining us. A pleasure to speak with you once again. And I got to tell you, those flags and the signs and the things that you mentioned that the religious right brought to
American flags and oh my God,
the insurrection. I took note of the very same day. I mean, a huge wooden cross, God saves, crosses on the pickup truck.
Anti-Christian.
It was everywhere. And I the first thing I thought to myself is, what would the reaction of the United States government or of the general U.S. population be? How would it be different if those were a bunch of brown people with a crescent moon and a star flag?
They would sit on their asses. We have video evidence of what they would do for several fucking months straight. You liar. You scumbag piece of shit. We have several months worth of evidence. Oh my God.
Do you think there'd be a different...
We have evidence of the cops just basically being hands off and barely doing anything. We have evidence of them, what they would do.
Than Andrew.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, and that's why I really tried to boil it down to race and religion being the two
These guys are
primary
evil
drivers of that sense of entitlement that you could see. I mean, and we have a direct comparison on the race front with the Black Lives Matter protests earlier this summer, right? I mean, you saw what the National Guard did around the Capitol.
Because they were torching shit, dude. They were torching and rioting.
Direct comparison.
No, it's not.
Compare that with a religion that's not Christianity. It's pretty easy to understand what a Trump Christian nationalist government would have done to that kind of violent attack.
When Kushner told him not, he told him not to bring in the National Guard. I mean, until after, way after the damage had already been done, as far as I understand it. Way after any of the fucking damage in Kenosha or Minneapolis. I mean, they burned libraries, for fuck's sake. They burned libraries, they burned liquor stores, they terrorized people in their apartments, all this fucking crazy shit. But again, putting your feet up on the desk in Nancy Pelosi's office. No, Christian nationalist violence.
Andrew, I've been calling this the Trump cult for quite some time. A lot of people reference it like that as well. How does that cult of personality, if nothing else, play into the religious dogma?
I mean, they are in this kind of incestuous marriage. The Christian nationalists' entire identity is based on disinformation about the American founding. That we were founded as a Christian nation, that we're based on Judeo-Christian principles, that our laws are based on the Ten Commandments, that the founding fathers were all evangelical Christians who prayed at the Constitutional Convention, that the Declaration of Independence was written based on the Bible, that we're one nation under God.
I've never heard that. Were they evangelical Christians? I think it's widely accepted the founders were, deists amongst, even like the boomer Tea Party crowd understands that. The so-called QAnon sliver of the population, these guys kvetch over while ignoring the rule, which is Antifa and BLM terrorism and arson, murder, rape, all that fun stuff. That's autonomous zones.
Their entire identity takes those myths and builds itself around them, and Trump tapped into it in a way that we have not seen in recent years. And actually, the best predictor of a Trump voter in 2016 was not race or religion, or even economic anxiety, but thinking that the United States was founded as a Christian nation. He was very adept at...
First you said it was anxiety. The left was whining, it's like white supremacy and you're anxious about immigration. I think being anxious about mass immigration and demographic displacement is probably, and also jobs, because that ties into it, that's probably the main thing. He's going to say Christian nationalists over and over and over again. I think it was anxiety about jobs and immigration and stuff like that, and crime.
To this,
all those things are real.
Identity. You saw it this past summer when he had protesters beaten and gassed so that he could walk to church and pose with a Bible, right?
Protesters, right? So masked thugs were going around throwing shit at people, right? Throwing fecal matter at people, probably, right?
This also helps explain, I think, the prevalence of QAnon and some of these other conspiracy theories that we see in the insurrection, right? The entire identity is based on disinformation, so it is susceptible
100% projection.
Other strains of disinformation.
Andrew, what about the end timers? Is that roll into part of this, or is that kind of a separate group, or is it all just kind of a mishmash together?
I mean, that's certainly part of it, right? I mean, there's the excitement for the end times, for the Book of Revelations to come true, and hastening that. There's and I do talk about this a little bit in the Founding Myth. I mean, that it's a central element to Christian nationalism, and it's one of the reasons that
I just know, this is just outlier shit, people who are bringing about end times or Christian nationalists. What they're trying to do is they're trying to scramble the brains of their listeners so that everybody just associates anything Christian with white supremacy. So they've realized that, optically, at least to some extent, going around calling everybody and their mama a white supremacist, that doesn't really fly anymore. Maybe in their circles it does, but they feel like to bring in moderates, they have to say Christian nationalist, right? That's probably what it is.
The Trump administration moved our I'm blanking on the word, to Israel, or not assembly.
Golan, okay, but that means that he's a Zionist president, not a Christian nationalist president.
I think that's exactly what you meant. I think Dom interrupted and said, "Move the embassy to
embassy."
Israel.
Yeah,
we all got it there. We put it together.
I can hear in the background the children who are not at school doing something, and I'm half paying attention. Yes, but moving our embassy to Jerusalem is part of this to help hasten the end times. I mean, Mike Pompeo is
ridiculous.
When he was our Secretary of State, and before that is this big believer in the end times, and they're doing what they can to hasten this. And this is just more of the Trump administration rewarding that Christian nationalist identity and putting that Christian nationalism into the public policy.
Andrew,
in what conceivable way? This is
there
insane.
Anywhere in the Bible where it says masklessness is next to godliness?
That's a zinger on Lefty Radio, eh? Let me hear that again.
Next to godliness.
Public policy.
Andrew, is there anywhere in the Bible where it says masklessness is next to godliness?
That was so fucking cringe, dude. Like, forget boomers. I mean, he might be a boomer or a Gen Xer, but like, forget whatever your boomer grandpa said that was cringe yesterday. This takes the cake for the absolute most cringy, just disgusting, horrible attempt at humor that I've ever fucking heard in my life. It doesn't. It's just like it's
not
just,
familiar with that. The next book I'm writing is called Weaponizing Religious Freedom, and I am diving deep into the idea that churches and believers have a right situated in religious freedom to infect the rest of the country.
Oh, wow. No, in fact, no. See, we have actually videos on this channel of leftists infecting churches, actually, like injecting the, lefty transgender fucking crap into, the drag queen story time with kids, like the excuse to basically groom kids that the left does.
Yeah, spoiler, I come down on the side that they actually don't have that right to kill us.
Quick question.
Don't
Joe
have that
Biden
right to
today
kill
gave
us.
a speech
Okay.
from the National Prayer Breakfast.
It's all projection, 100% projection. They want to burn, they want to loot, they want to steal, rape, and kill. And they're trying to convince you that resisting them is the real hate, the real violence.
Extending
This pisses me off.
time-honored tradition of U.S.
Dude.
presidents. What do you think of that tradition, Andrew?
That is absolutely a Christian nationalist tradition. Jeff Charlotte wrote about this in his book The Family, which became this Netflix special. I think it's episode 3. He really kind of gets into this. It's not that old of a tradition. It dates back to the 1950s, which I already talked about. We saw a wave of Christian nationalism. That absolutely needs to be abolished. I mean, a national prayer breakfast, a national anything is a contradiction. Anything religious is a contradiction in terms when you're talking about a country that invented the separation of state and church.
I'm a little apprehensive.
Yeah, okay, I don't need to be the one to point out that's not actually in there. It's just some other phraseology in another context. It's just that we don't establish a state religion. Allowing somebody to allowing somebody to pray is not a violation of. Yeah, I mean, I don't need to be the first person to point out that this is just yet another example of all progressives ever do is lie 100% of the time, no exceptions.
To ask, since you've been scary and prescient in the past, but do you have any predictions, Andrew? Where do you think the Christian nationalists go from here?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I don't think Christian nationalism is going away. I actually think that this is probably the beginning.
I don't think that whites are going away, but if we can expedite mass immigration and the welfare state, but not for them, we can really do some damage. And then also, sick these Antifa dogs on people, keep the mask mandates and the shutdown orders going. These guys like to sell masks, like, for profit on their show, branded.
Something worse. Again, we've seen these waves throughout American history, and those waves leave Christian relics in their wake. Things like In God We Trust and One Nation Under God, and they're relegated back to the fringe. But we have to push them back.
Dude just called In God We Trust fringe, and we got to push them back
to the fringe.
We got to push them back to the fringe. Push In God We Trust back to the fringe.
Right, it's up to us. We have to fight against this movement. People need to know how to refute and repudiate Christian nationalism, not just with better facts, but with better arguments. And
no, he just means like lie, and this is exactly how he's been lying. See, full disclosure, I'm actually more or less a secular person myself, but dude, come on, man. Basic understanding of history would indicate, there's a huge white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, Roman, Irish Catholic, Germanic, Lutheran, yada, 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 influence on this country. Not just influence, I mean foundational, structural, whatever the fuck. Systemic systems of structural institutions, right? The left laments about that all the time. It's just bizarre. So it's like they've been like, no, this is a white supremacist Christian blah, blah, blah country. But then he says, oh, that's the myth of the country. But then he backpedals and says, oh, that's Trump's America. But then they contradict the head again. It's just
and that's
like,
really what I was trying to do.
Lying.
When I wrote the founding myth was to give people
the
tools to help.
So it's a myth. Okay, so everything the left has been telling us about white supremacist system, that's a myth up till now.
Push Christian nationalism back to the fringe. where it belongs and point out that this is fundamentally and irrevocably an un-American movement.
But Andrew, if the Democrats utilize the same invocations as these Republicans have historically, how do you draw distinction, sir?
I mean, I think that's a great point. I think it's problematic. And you know, talking about the prayer breakfast, you saw Senator Chris Coons from Delaware saying this morning, like, no, this isn't a Christian nationalist thing. This is about coming together for Jesus. And that may be what he wants it to be, but that's not what everybody else understands it to be.
So more gaslighting. It's like, oh yeah, you can tell us what you think it is and what you intend for it to be, but we're just going to go ahead and tell you and everybody else what it actually is, even though there's no evidence to substantiate any of our claims. In fact, the evidence shows the exact opposite of pretty much every single claim they've made. Lies of omission, lies of commission, you know, complete misrepresentations of what occurred at various rallies. I mean, he's called protesters riots and rioters protesters. It's the same schlock.
And there is a very real danger that by not pointing out that under God was added to the pledge deliberately by Christian nationalists to foist their God on a country.
They've been pointing that out obnoxiously since like 2004, dude, since shitlibs center their identity around watching Colbert and fucking, you know what I mean? Like those guys, Jon Stewart or John Leibowitz or whatever his fucking name is.
Force children to repeat it when the country was busy with other things.
They didn't force
In God We Trust was added to our coins during the height of the Civil War when we were literally brothers were killing brothers, right? To pretend that those things didn't happen and to pretend that there's not that history and to whitewash it is to invite Christian nationalism to come back again in another way.
In another form. So basically we have to force all these people to take estrogen shots and Ritalin and, you know, we totally have to, you know, soy burgers and Impossible burgers and mealworm souffle and cockroach milk or, you know, this Christian nationalist movement's really going to come back. Ooh, like where?
Wave in the future.
Everything you see is anti-white guy, dude.
So again, that's what I really try to do in the founding myth is to just write this definitive book that disproves these myths and goes after the identity at its heart.
We got
wants to go after your identity. They're telling you straight to your face.
30 seconds left. Andrew, do you think the Catholic Church should receive another round of PPP?
Absolutely not. Another bombshell story this morning from the AP. I mean, they've clearly abused it. Churches never should have gotten PPP money in the first place. That was clearly unconstitutional.
Terrible.
Andrew Seidel, appreciated, sir. Director of Strategic Response, Freedom from Religion Foundation, constitutional
Seidel,
author of The Founding Myth. Thank you so much, Andrew. We'll
One star that book.
Soon.
Anytime, gentlemen. Thank you.
Or Devil's Advocates, phone lines open, 844-967-2789.
Hear that? The phone line's open? Ooh.
All right, well, what does your church tell you about when people say that they're the second coming of God? My reason tells me the man is certifiable. I want your opinion, Gary.
I would say anybody who comes back and says that, I would say you'd be the Antichrist.
I am the chosen one.
So Trump is the Antichrist then, Gary, by that logic?
I'm not saying he is,
but he said he's the chosen one.
I am the
chosen one.
By your biblical logic, Donald.
Oh, he must have said something, maybe ironically there. We gotcha.
Trump is the Antichrist.
Oh, zing pow!
From 3 to 6 p.m.
Fucking idiots.
America has chosen Joe.
Oh, America chose Joe Biden?
Andrew.
Huh? Are these guys really
Thank
bad?
you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime you want me to come on and talk about this stuff, let me know.
Have a great night.
These guys are fucking amateur, way more amateur and boomer than I am. Wow. They got funding and they're on the FM dial and they're still fucking boomer tech with it. Oh my goodness.
Hi, this is Don from the Devil's Advocates inviting you to join us on Patreon.com.
No, we're not gonna give you a red cent.
Exclusive programming not available anywhere else and gives you the ability to directly support the greatest radio show ever. History's patrons have supported the works of Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Monet, and now with your support, the Devil's Advocates. So please go to Patreon.com and search the Devil's Advocates to pick your subscription. That's Patreon.com and the Devil's Advocates, the greatest radio show ever.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news.
Oh, yeah, lefty here.
I raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney. But once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
Oh, yeah, no, dear.
Criminal constitutional law, you've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
The Devil's Advocates, making radio great again.
Oh! The left can't meme, so they have to repurpose.
Thank you for listening to the Devil's
Right-wing
Advocates
memes.
radio show. Join us on the phones at 844-967-2789. Want to thank our friend Andrew Seidel, Director of Strategic Response from the Freedom from Religion Foundation, author of The Founding Myth. Always appreciate his input. And Crudy, breaking news.
Oh, I love when it breaks during the show, Dom.
The Associated Press from the Washington Post out of Madison, Wisconsin. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers issues new mask mandate less than an hour after the GOP-controlled legislature repeals prior order.
I believe I have a quote from the governor.
So they're happy about that. They're happy to be forced. Look at how disgustingly smug and smirky these people are about the state forcing everybody to wear a fucking useless mask.
Governor, suck it, Robin Plus.
They're celebrating
You
it.
know what Tony Evers' patron saint is? Why, of course, it's the holy mackerel, Dom.
Oh, yeah! Mackerel.
Terrible. And so true.
These guys are revolting.
844-967-2789. So during the course of the last 2 hours in the state of Wisconsin, we've seen Wisconsin Republicans overturn the emergency mask mandate at the expense to the poorest Wisconsin recipients, those unfortunately out of work or for whatever reason, they're recipients of SNAP benefits. And the Republicans, through their actions, would have cost these very recipients 243,000 households, $50 million this month and every subsequent month. And the governor's
By doing what?
governor,
Wait, how?
Governor Tony Evers giving a big middle finger back.
By not wait, is he saying by not forcing people to wear masks? That's the monetary damage to poor people? Is that what he's saying?
Said,
how?
Take that, Republicans, Robin Voss,
how?
And the rest of your caucus. And for once, I applaud you.
Yes.
They're not going to take calls, are they? Are they going to? So they're slow clapping, just economic devastation, just shutting people down in their homes.
Well done, sir.
967-2789. Going to the phones. Catherine from Madison, you're next. Welcome. What do you got for us?
Hey, Catherine.
Oh, hi, guys. That was such a good section you had there with talking about religion and the United States and so forth. And I just wanted to say,
Hag.
we all know it's not all religions. I mean, in the past, the Quakers had a lot to do with the abolition of slavery and Martin Luther King with civil rights. Sometimes I think the problem is more education.
Okay.
And that if you are not well educated early on, that you can get sucked into these conspiracy theories and
Right, because our public school system is failing to quote unquote educate people about how the mean old white man is a supremacist and Christianity is evil, right? Sure.
and into, you know,
If they're a bunch of snarling white supremacist slave
Well, it's
owners, right?
indoctrination. Just like the Republicans accuse the public schools of indoctrinating the kids.
100%.
You know, with
What?
facts and science and history. They don't like that
No facts, no science. It's literally just biased white man bad.
sort of indoctrination, Catherine. They got
Unbelievable lies and projection.
And I think the other movements is just the opposite. They were getting away from when you were indoctrinated that slavery is good or that white people need to be separated, all that sort of thing. It's like an open.
Where on earth is there mainstream indoctrination saying that slavery was quote unquote good or that what the fuck?
Up with your mind as opposed to being indoctrinated by making things even stricter and worse than they are. You know, so I just wanted to say I thought that was a great segment.
These people are horrible liars, dude. Their lies are getting people killed.
It irritates me even when we have to have a prayer at the inauguration or any. I think we should just not have any religion at
Oh, it irritates you when there's a prayer at a fucking political event. It bothers me when leftists burn cities to the ground and burn libraries to the ground and then blame, what, white supremacy?
all when you have any state function.
That bothers me.
Total separation. And they try to make it that this person that's giving a religious invocation at the inauguration is multi-religion, but forget it. I'm not a religious person myself, so he's not representing me. Stick to
You're
nothing
whining about
as
something
far as
stupid.
religious in any state thing. That's my opinion.
It's
Catherine,
just,
Might as well, Catherine.
I make this pledge to you, Catherine, right here on.
These people think that Christian infiltration of the government is a problem. This is just unbelievable, psychotic, just delusional.
Devil Radio. We will never have a prayer of any sort, so help me God.
That was a prayer.
Oh,
thank you, Catherine. Appreciate the input and the call. The nice thing for the religious types, if it doesn't say whatever your political feelings might be, maybe your whatever your bigoted feelings might be, whatever your homophobic feelings might be.
Homophobic.
Well, if it doesn't say it specifically.
So you don't want dudes like touching kids. You're homophobic.
Whatever
Goy.
fantasy book you're believing in, today's religion is, or tomorrow's mythology. If it doesn't say it specifically, you can claim it's in there somehow because you read into it, because it's all a matter of belief, right? It's all a matter,
God's plan?
a matter of faith. It's a matter of faith.
These guys are douchebags, man.
QAnon. Trust the plan. I mean,
QAnon is like 7 boomers,
contradictory
man.
passages in the Bible. I've noted
Oh
a
my
few
God.
contradictory passages.
This is
Dom, let's leave.
this isn't even. I'm not even going to dignify this by saying this is like 2008 atheist, tipping fedora tier content. It's like 2004.
Time for at least a few more calls.
Out of touch, like almost 20 years out of touch.
844.
Even for the left, like
967-2789. Mark from the SAC, welcome back. I understand you're a little agitated, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
I've calmed down, taken some deep breaths with Tony's action. But I'd like to, that Robin Voss was in violation of the flag code, having the mask, having the flag on his mask that he's wearing there with like Robin Voss there. I noticed he was wearing a mask if that was indeed him. But
well, that was an American flag. That was some secessionist state that they plan on creating later.
What are they talking about?
But that is a violation of the flag code. And as far as the God in God We Trust on the coins, it did not appear on most of the coinage until the 20th century.
They already said that.
I mean, it was on the 2-cent piece.
That was the entire push of that idiot Madison freak leftist segment. They already fucking said that.
And what's interesting,
Who
in
cares?
some of the coinage, they actually had the Goddess of Liberty, like the Mercury dime had the Goddess of Liberty because that's who it was. I mean, our coinage typically had our
Dude, somebody call into the
Goddess
show
of Liberty on them,
for real.
But in
The
God
number.
We Trust on the very same coin, which is kind of a odd connection that I just kind of made. That noticed that. But I mean,
a little of the
should be
Greek
separation of church and
mythology,
state.
a little bit of the Judeo-Christian, throw it in the mix.
Judeo.
Mix it all in there.
844.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Want to get one more in? 844-967-2789. Jack from the Mac, you are up. Welcome, sir. What do you got today?
Well, it seems that in order to keep their tax-exempt status,
They're just like letting their old grandpa donors call in who are sympathetic. So anybody who's actually trying to call in who's a dissenting voice is probably not going to make it on, are they? But still push. Like, I'm going to come up with a fake number one of these days and try myself.
religions
This is going to be.
stay out of politics, and that real clearly isn't the case, especially in the extreme right-wing religions. The IRS has got to start doing something about this.
Well,
Fine,
I
but who
I
cares?
left the church
It's
because
so
I felt
exception.
like the pastor, who was a friend of mine, but I felt like he was preaching from the pulpit. And this was well before Trump. But Jack, I couldn't reconcile sitting there at the time. I think he quoted Rick Santorum to the congregation. I almost walked out on the guy. I said, "You ever do that again, I'm walking out."
Walking out? Yeah, who gives a fuck, though?
And he, again, preached from the pulpit. And,
I mean, this dude is probably in favor of killing babies and, sacrificing foreskins to Moloch. And he's like, if you ever speak out against that in your sermon again, I'm walking.
I left the
Don't
church.
you know?
Yeah, I can understand that.
Stephen Hayes, the show is called Devil's Advocates Radio. It's a local lefty kind of quasi-syndicated radio station. Their number, if anyone wants to call in, is right down here.
They have no business at all sticking their nose in politics. We're supposed to have separation of church and state in this country. This is, the right wingers, I'm sure, are going to scream blue bloody murder if the IRS does start investigating these churches.
Well, what they do when the IRS tried to investigate these sort of dark money tax exempt 501c3s, calling themselves the Patriot Party.
I mean, once again, dude, how about all the 501c3s that are funding like truckloads full of like shields and clubs and Molotov cocktails? Oh, I'm sorry, ideas, right? Because Antifa is just an idea, right? Yeah, just like fucking dumbing out all those ideas. Who's funding that shit, you fucking sleazy, slimy car salesman?
Of course.
Which actually, for political facts, and they weren't real 501c3.
Well, no, they were misusing the tax code to the benefit of grandiose donors, and then they went after the IRS for trying to hold them to their tax-exempt status qualifications. I think lowest
gives a fuck. I mean, I guarantee you, it's just tons of exception meet rule. Like, it's a lot of that one time versus when it never happens to the left and any of their shady fucking 501c3 nonprofits. Oh, gee, like anything associated with BLM getting corporate dark money up the waz, dude, for again the purposes of just terrorizing usually city-dwelling workers. But now it's we've seen it fucking spill out into the suburbs and into the rural areas and the smaller towns. These motherfuckers think that shit's hilarious. But they distract you by just like crocodile tearsing over, capital insurgents or tax exempt 501c3 exempt status church. So it's just like lying. It's blurring the lines between the exception and the rule. It's just this classic fucking lying.
It sticks in my mind.
Maybe with Democrats arbitrarily in charge of the federal government, we can do something.
Jack, cutting you short, man. Pay that cell bill. Or,
Thanks for calling, Jack.
Oh, yeah, here.
Snow. It is snowing here in Wisconsin. Come back with us. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates. We'll heat it up next.
Is anybody going to call in?
And every
House Democrats want former President Donald Trump to testify next week at his Senate impeachment trial. South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham says it's a bad idea.
It's just a nightmare for the country to do this.
Higher at the close on Wall Street. This is
people who love to do the same.
After the election, call today.
Goals and guide you with.
Wisconsin ranks 29th nationally in the number of doses administered, up considerably from 45th just last week. As of Monday, the state ranks 29th in the nation and 5th.
So yeah, I mean, once the vaccine is distributed, are they gonna fucking stop bitching and kvetching about everyone wearing 3 fucking masks?
Out of all Midwestern states, with 7.4% of its population given at least the first shot, according to CDC data. Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager charged with fatally shooting 2 men and wounding a third during the Jacob Blake protests in
King
August,
Kyle
is under further scrutiny by authorities. Wisconsin prosecutors Wednesday asked to issue an arrest warrant for Rittenhouse, stating he violated his bail agreement by
1. Thank you for listening.
We are super gay.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning.
Gross.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Kroot.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Lots of breaking headlines. Dominic, we're waiting on a vote at the U.S. Congress whether Marjorie Taylor Greene will be stripped from her committee assignments. We're also...
because she's too based?
Monitoring a letter from the House impeachment managers to Donald J. Trump, encouraging him to come give sworn testimony during his impeachment. Oh, please, Mr. Trump.
Yes, please.
I'd love to see that. And Dominic, we got some breaking news.
Yeah, these guys were the kings of pushing like Russia queens, I should say. They were the queens and princesses of pushing Russia hysteria. In fact, this is actually, I mean, unless somebody actually gets through with a dissenting voice on the phone lines, I don't know if I want to keep listening. But I have another clip of an example of longtime viewers of my show out there. Remember B&B? He actually got through with a pretty hilarious. We'll play that clip in a second.
Makes the national headlines. What happened? This effort to overturn the mask mandate would come at the expense of $50 million a month in SNAP benefits for the most needy.
Oh, that's what he's saying. So a lot of these people would be able to go back to work. And so he's saying that, he's framing it like, they would lose all that money and the Republicans want to steal the money from the poor. Well, I mean, it's letting people socialize again and therefore go back to work. So yeah, a lot of people might get reduced benefits. I'm not one of these like boomer, like rah, the safety net's horrible and it's like hurting the poor black man. Democrats are the real racists. I'm not pushing that spiel. I actually support the existence of a safety net. But on the other hand, dude, like, he's framing this incredibly disingenuously and like, he's losing. Letting people take the masks off and basically go back to work would hurt the poor somehow. That's just insane.
And they decided today they'd go forward anyways. Screw you, Governor Tony Evers. Screw you, poor people. And of course,
screw you, poor people, by not forcing you to wear 2 masks anymore.
Screw you, 72% of Wisconsinites that actually support a mask mandate being in place. So they're embracing the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Trumpiest of the Trump side of their party. For what reason, I'm not exactly clear, Dom. But then what Governor Tony Evers do in response?
Governor Tony Evers has issued another mask mandate.
And they think that's good? They like that?
Have, and this is, and how long has this been going on, right? The Republicans have done literally nothing for like 8 or 9 months. They get together.
Let's call it 10.
To the governor. 10 months. Damn, I know time flies. They get together to stick it to the governor, and then it falls apart. And the reporting was, and everyone knew, well, why wouldn't Tony Evers just issue another mask mandate?
He's issued like
that's
4.
Tyrannical.
He's issued like 4, and isn't it unconstitutional to do more than 1 or 2 in a certain amount of time? I thought that's what it was. Why are they laughing about being forced to wear fucking face kippas when you go to the grocery store? Why do they find this funny?
Now, isn't there a case right?
How fucking, I mean, devil. These people are straight up telling you what they are.
Now in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court regarding the powers, these specific powers of the governor of Wisconsin to issue these 60-day health mandates.
Buddy, you want me to keep track of every hoaxer piece of legislation between the accusations of electoral fraud and the mask mandates and the trying to overturn the governor of the state of Wisconsin? You would need a beautiful mind and a scorecard, and I have neither.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Frick, you live in Andy.
People calling
He
in.
who casts stones.
Did she ever get elected? But the other
967-2789. Andy from Beaver Dam, welcome back. What do you got for us?
Hey, Andy.
Well, first of all, hip hooray for Governor Tony Evers for just put out another one. He can play this basketball game back and forth. But the other thing
you can't see it, Andy, but I'm giving him a standing ovation. Right?
God, you're disgusting, people.
We're still up here listening, as like Betsy said. Right on, you guys. You're doing this.
Possibly.
Listen,
Joe Biden could throw us back in the Paris Accord, and
all right, hold on.
Maybe AOC will be the next president elected, and maybe we would do something.
That's enough of that. But yeah, I have actually gotten a buddy of mine, B&B. Some of the longtime viewers of my channel might know. Dude actually got through a while ago. This was in the middle of, like I said, the Russia hysteria that these guys were fully pushing 100% of the time.
Nothing,
Brian.
Nothing that a little bleach won't fix, Grudy.
Can he even keep his eyes open in there?
Yeah, he's on the phone. He's taking calls. You can call as well. 844-967-2789. We have some more Trump sound we're going to get to, but let's get some callers in so we don't have to make you wait. Nigel from Lake Geneva, you are next. Thank you for calling. Nigel, what do you got for us today?
I don't quite understand why you want to impeach Donald Trump. What would that accomplish and for what reason? There's nothing wrong with interacting with Russia. They have a flat tax of 13%. They have a high level of national satisfaction with their leader, and they're rapidly waging war against the bankster Federal Reserve System that is closely aligned with the petrodollar states of the OPEC cartel. It would seem that any sort of collusion with Russia would be very, very good towards advancing the sort of social revolution you advocate.
It would be conspiratorial, and it would be illegal, sir, and it would be the evidence of treachery and traitorous activity by the guy who got elected with the benefit of Russian conspiracy and collusion.
He really did choke that one out, didn't he?
Nigel, I don't care about petrochemical freaking policies between the Russians and Europeans and the Saudis. What I care
Russians are your what?
about is the integrity of the presidency of the United States and the leader we have
There
chosen.
is no integrity for the presidency of the United States. It's all bought and paid for by the quantitatively eased banks that are part of the Federal Reserve System.
Yo, based?
There is no integrity to American politics. It's all paid to play. Well, where's your reason? I mean, why did they bail out the banks? It was the Democrats that did QE for 8 years, and it was the Republicans that did top 1, and then Obama did top 2. It's a completely crooked system. And you're saying the Russians are bad. Well, all the members of the Congress who are Democrats are all colluding with the Saudis because they're the major financiers of their 501c, as well as the banks that the Saudis are the majority shareholders of. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's collusion everywhere. What about AIPAC and all the money they give to Canada? Most of the Democrats and Republicans. You're simply advocating for a democratic one-party takeover, and there's no consistency. There's no consistency at all in your ideology.
Wait a minute, Nigel. Of course there is consistency. Now, I'm not going to sit back and look back at President Barack Obama or the previous presidents before them. What we have right now is President Donald Trump. Now, do you
Interesting. We just got done watching you guys bitch about Donald Trump, and he's not the president anymore. You're not bitching about Biden.
I think President
Funny.
Donald Trump has colluded with the Russians. Do you think he has
Russia.
interfered with the legal investigations of the laws of this country? Yes or no?
I think you're upset that Facebook...
That's a very simple question, Nigel. Do you want to answer it? Has Donald Trump interfered with investigations that are legal and righteous in this country into him and his businesses?
Oh, these guys believe in fucking righteousness, right? They just got ragging on fucking Christian nationalism for an hour.
And his inauguration, et cetera, et cetera. Either he did or he did not. What do you think?
As the executive, he runs the DOJ. So where are these investigations even coming from? They seem to be coming from inside of a bureaucracy that's completely out of control.
So the DOJ is out of control and Donald Trump is the guy that's fixing it? That's what you're suggesting?
I think whatever collusion he's done with Russia.
I'm not talking about collusion with Russia. I'm talking about investigation.
Wait, you are talking about collusion with Russia. What? This was the Russia hour for ages.
Right now, money laundering. What about money laundering with Russia? Nigel, how about that one? Is that okay with you? You think that's cool?
I'm not talking about Russia, but what about Russia?
That's creating fake money to inflate the equities market. The Democrats supported that completely for 8 years at 0% interest. How does money have no cost?
No, I'm not talking about monetary fiscal policy. I'm talking about dirty money coming out of Russia, stolen, Nigel, stolen. People died. The Magnitsky Act, they murdered the guy in prison. They hustled hundreds of millions of dollars from this corporation hedge fund that they funneled through real estate in frickin' Manhattan, man.
Really?
Now, you want to talk about monetary policy in the Fed? Fine, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about a POS corrupt real estate developer who was on the receiving end of Russian money, and he's doing everything he can to hide it. Now, come on, man. That is something that we need to investigate in this country, given the laws and processes that we have. And if you don't think that that's worth doing it, you think he's innocent of all that? Well, that's your opinion. I think he's guilty. And if he partook in that activity, he should be prosecuted, regardless if he's in the executive branch or not.
With what evidence, sir? Do you think Bill Clinton should be prosecuted for going to Little St. James Island with his friend, Mr.
Don't be whatabouting me, Nigel. It doesn't matter. Where we're at is where we're at right now, dude.
Ooh, doesn't matter. Yeah, these fuckers cover for him, don't they? Yeah, this is pre Epstein coming out officially and killing himself, so-called.
Investment in the United States is absolutely fantastic, much better than Saudi investment.
Is that what you call stealing? I mean, Russian tax money getting stolen out of a hedge fund? Come on, that's investment. That's money laundering, Nigel.
What's the process of laundering money? Tell me.
Where's
the money laundering?
The money laundering's happening in Trump Towers all around America. The money laundering is when Russian oligarchs
completely just like baseless bullshit.
When they take and they buy I tell you what, cut him off because I can't.
All right, no, I got him. He's on hold. He's still here, but he's holding, so you can finish your thought, Michael.
Okay, I don't disagree with Nigel on quantitative easing. I've had tremendous issues. I don't think you're wrong, Nigel, on quantitative easing. I think it's a differing topic, and I think that many of the prior administrations, starting with Bush and then Obama, were guilty of it. There should have been some banksters goose-stepped straight to jail. They should have been walking them out in cuffs, and that didn't
Whoa, cool with the anti-Semitism, devil's advocate.
happen. I think that was to the detriment of the prior president as well. I am critical occasionally of Obama, but that decision is a decision that you disagree with. That doesn't make it illegal.
Illegal?
Trump allegedly has done is against laws. He's breaking the laws of our
Base
country
versus
in every
baseless.
effort to
Good
hide
one.
that.
Hell yeah.
And if you think that Russian oligarchs paying cash for condos at inflated prices, which is illegal if you're doing so with ill-gotten gain, if you think that's just investment in the good old United States of America, Nigel, I disagree with you. That is illegal money laundering. If it was El Chapo doing it, we would think it was illegal. Well, if the money's coming from ill-gotten gains and it's being laundered, well, that's illegal, sir. And that's every evidence is that Donald Trump's been doing that since the 1980s.
Under what law? State the U.S. code. USC what? USC what?
I don't know the code, Nigel. You can Google it, man. Money laundering is illegal in this country, man. Come on.
Okay, let's move on.
Nigel, I appreciate it, man, but we got to keep on moving. More callers are here, 844-967-2789. I'm not going to cite you the law, man. Pretty sure money laundering illegal. And why is Deutsche Bank paying hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and continually under investigation? Oh, yeah, they're also one of the primary lenders to the president of the United States.
And they said no to Trump during the campaign. How bad is it when Deutsche Bank
Deutsche
won't
Bank
lend you money and they expect you might be the next president?
To conceal the source of money as by channeling it through an intermediary.
Thank you, Brian.
Are these people happier than us? Do they benefit from their lies? Yeah, I think they do, actually. I think there's a strong case to be made for ignorance is bliss. There definitely is. But these guys, I don't know, are these guys ignorant or are they just malicious liars? It's difficult to tell with a lot of these progressives. It's, I guess the likelihood is higher if they're in some sort of influential information dissemination space. I don't know. I think that if you're a progressive, it's self-evident you benefit from a way more robust social life, and these days you get way more opportunities. At the very least, you don't get opportunities just outright taken from you. I mean, like, you could be an outright fucking Antifa terrorist, and society doesn't hate you. Like, they only hate you for not even a Trump supporter, just like, hey, Trump's not that horrible, right? We've all seen that. But anyway, on to the next thing. Apparently, I guess I could have assumed this already, but apparently pro wrestling is completely stratified by these progressives. I was given this video by a gracious donor to the channel, DNDo. If you want to check out, give that Subscribestar link some love, subscribestar.com/dursttheworst. Throw me some bucks. I will break down a video or an article that you like. But I'm going to go over these Mick Foley and Nick Hausman. I'm not a huge fan of pro wrestling myself, but I think that it's somewhat worthwhile to go over spaces that these people have taken over. But apparently, okay, so this is just amazing to me that wrestling would have allowed this. Okay, well, how much of, a lot of this podcast might not have anything to do with politics, and if it does have anything to do with wrestling, I may not be the most qualified to comment on it, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
My guest at this time is a WWE World Heavyweight Champion and a WWE Hall of Famer. He is Dude Love, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Mrs. Foley's baby boy. It's Mick Foley. Mick, thank you for
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, no problem, Mick. Well, we're going to get into a lot of stuff here, but before we do, you've got a lot of cool stuff going on outside of the ring, and I always love watching, because you're a very socially active person, First of all, Mr. Sacco is back. You want to tell the fans a little bit about what you're doing with Sacco at the moment?
Oh, yeah. every year I do a Super Sacco sale. Just to make it clear, the first year I did it, it was to help a Santa whose apartment had burned down, to help him find a new location. And I have I have usually donated some of the money. That was all of the money, some of the money to charity. I haven't decided. I mean, this is a for-profit deal is what I'm trying to say. So I don't want
he doesn't. Yeah, BLM has nothing to do with for-profit. You guys,
people to think that it's a fundraiser. It's it's a Foley Pizza fundraiser. But I think it's a lot of fun, and Pro Wrestling Tees does a great job. They are my distribution center. I went in and I signed all the socks a couple weeks ago, and for $25 you get the autographed sock with the face on it and a certificate of authenticity. So on one hand, it's just me signing a sock. On the other hand, people love these things. They put them in frames with the certificate, and it's like anything. I think that.
So check this out. Yeah, he's just telling you right here. He's, the merchandising. It's awesome. Making some cash. He's just straight up telling you to your face that he's grifting on you. Just got mine. Foley's good. Awesome. Yeah, here's money. 1 hour tease. Like, okay, notice how 1 hour tease is not bombarded with messaging. Did you know you're siding with an arsonist, fucking terrorist organization? Nobody's bombarding them. I mean, but if someone wants to do a GoFundMe for like a patriot who got the shit kicked out of him for no fucking reason, not happening. They're gonna get kicked off. They're whatever it is. This is just crazy backwards grifting, bro. What happened?
That puts a smile on your face or the face of someone you love during this difficult time is a good thing. Sure. And it's not like we're twisting anybody's arm, but it's out there and it's a pretty cool item if somebody's looking for that type of thing.
I don't know. I think that had I got a Mick Foley sock, like a Sacco, as opposed to a Rock elbow pad, I think it goes Sacco over elbow pad. Agree, disagree?
Cool, flashy advertising. I shouldn't really talk all that much. I do have. I mean, I'm not fully bug manned out. Obviously, I do have some. Not pro wrestling interests, but this is just like, oh, cool, yeah, oh, branding, oh, BLM's branded so well, oh, yeah, Sacco, cool, profit, association, positive for me and my brand, yeah, popular.
Yeah, because the elbow pad was something he took off, so the elbow pad was actually making the elbow less effective.
Oh, got it. Yeah,
Although I don't think there's anyone among us who wouldn't rather have a game-used Rock elbow pad than a Mankind sock.
Does the sock also suck up moisture, making it easier for you to manipulate that nerve underneath the tongue? Is that?
No, I mean it just so happened that
gross.
Honestly, I've said before, especially in the Attitude Era, you were just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Even underground bands, I would never think pandered to this stuff all summer. Yeah, dude, the hashtag resistance is all about cashing in on people's fucking fear and stupidity on this, dude. Oh, buy my branded. See, I think I've mentioned this on the stream before, back when, excuse me, when the mask mandates and the shutdowns were first starting, or just wear a mask. I saw a sponsored Facebook advertisement for a Resident Evil Umbrella Corporation face mask. Get it? Because, I mean, it's easy, it's popular, look, everybody understands what a zombie virus outbreak is, right? So, boom, perfect marketing, perfect, Resident Evil, Capcom, ka-ching, right? So I saw that and I immediately was like, oh, okay, this is all completely bullshit. They're just politicizing and monetizing the fucking cold to fucking ruin and enslave people they don't like.
And if you had asked me
fake and
after
gay, exactly.
the visit with Mr. Sacco in the hospital, if that was something that was going to stick, I go, no, it's one and done. And it wasn't until the next day that Steve Austin was putting it over. He's putting it over so strong, I thought he was ripping me. I thought he was going to jump on me as soon as I lowered my guard. I'm like, really, Steve? Did you like that? I was like, go to hell, kid. You're Cactus Jack. What are you doing with a stock puppet? And then she assured me it was one of the funniest things he thought.
This dude's selling sock puppets and BLM merchandise to cash in on just the world ending. And this soy boy fucking just, I wonder what tribe he's a member of, thinks it's all just great. It's hilarious.
And that day, people had signs and they were chanting Sacco's name. And here I am 23 years later, we do this yearly worldwide sale, and people really enjoy it.
Man, I feel like I feel like we're missing out on a Mr. Sacco like animated series. Like, I feel like him and Towley from South Park could maybe be friends.
Dude, weed. And then like Seth Rogen could come in and like, rip like a gravity bong. Oh yeah, dude.
At one time, one of the guys who did MTV Deathmatch with me wanted to do an animated series with Mankind and the Sock. They liked the way I remember when I was doing Celebrity Deathmatch in a sound booth, and I said I was against great author Ernest Hemingway.
What's up, Don
They had
Rufio?
some great lines in there. I tore off his arms. They said, "That's it. Farewell to arms." And after I vanquished Hemingway, they said, "I guess we know for whom that bell tolls." Like, it was really well written. And I said to them while I'm doing it, I'm getting 100% into the Mankind, the over the top Mankind character, version of the character. And
wait, is this guy Mankind? I gotta punch in every now and then to remind you, I am the furthest thing from a wrestling fan. I'm just I guess naively shocked at this point that wrestling is stratified by these fucking leftists. I mean, they're probably going to get to that, right? Criticizes Donald Trump. They're going to get to that in this podcast soon enough. But
I said, "How many celebrities do their own voices?" And he said, "Including you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "One." I said, "One?" And he said, "Well, not every celebrity finds the humor in it like you do. Like, the ability to wink and nod and, kind of not take yourself too seriously."
Sure.
So he did.
Okay, well, in that vein, Mick Foley, dude, not take yourself too seriously. This is like right before, America, this 2016 election. America, please don't do it. This meme is foolish and not meant to be taken seriously. Okay, yeah, he starts off with that. But I hope you will take my words seriously as I kindly ask my fellow whites in the United States not to do what I'm thinking you're thinking about doing. Please, white American males, and I'm not talking about whoever, don't cast that vote for Donald Trump tomorrow. The most Zionist president we've ever had. Telling you to look in your mirror. Ask you to Google Kristallnacht. Okay, yeah. See, once again, everything that leftists accuse you of doing, they do, okay? They had already been fucking terrorizing people in the streets, and this is 4 or 5 years out from, George Floyd, yada, 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 several months of just fucking constant rioting and violence. Are they going to bring that up? No. Let me be clear, I am not comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, except you just invoked Kristallnacht. You fucking liar. I am worried that a Trump presidency would foster the same atmosphere of intolerance that has historically allowed events such as Kristallnacht to occur. Okay, so he's not comparing Donald Trump to Hitler, except for the fact that he's comparing Donald Trump to Hitler. And by the way, he just got done saying that he should not take himself too seriously. But, again, this is just so he can fucking brand, like, Johnny Sacco, BLM, whatever the fuck. Branded face masks and that sort of thing, and whatever, BLM t-shirts. It's just so he can make money, right? It's just insane, dude. Let's get back to what these fuckers are saying.
Somebody was enthusiastic. It didn't happen, but a lot of my post-wrestling life has been filled with things that didn't quite happen.
Oh, well, and some things that did happen.
Some things did happen, for sure, yeah.
Some things did happen. Well, anyway, I love talking about... I don't know what it is about Sacco. It just makes me feel, nice to hear you talk about Mr. Sacco. I don't know.
Wait, did I say Johnny Sacco? What is Mr. Sacco?
You're on Cameo, too, so Vince hasn't made you sign your Cameo over? What's going on with you on Cameo at the moment?
No, I mean, it's a sticky point. They're kind of letting me be for now. I just did the bump for WWE. I'm doing a watch along on Sunday night, so we're all getting along. I think it's somewhere they don't want to rock the boat. I do. I go into character. I mean, I love doing them.
He loves doing characters for you, Goyim, so he can cash in on some shekels on your stupidity.
Things about this pandemic is it's kind of brought on like loneliness as its own pandemic of sorts. People all alone, and so I found when I was given this opportunity.
Okay, so we're listening to the words of Chad Spaghetti says it's a sock that he drew a face on and he shoves it down his opponent's throats. So that's his wrestling persona.
Because my wife.
What tribal affiliation does this guy have? Is it sort of like a Dan Schneider-esque tribal affiliation?
Has a pre-existing condition. So anytime I go anywhere, I've got to
shoving a sock puppet down somebody's throat.
When I come back, I've got to isolate for 2 weeks. I haven't seen my wife. We have not been without masks around each other since this whole thing started. So it's been difficult.
Oh my God.
And when you're sitting alone in a hotel room or your house, whatever it may be, it's like I've got no contact with the outside world. Social media. Stopped by my mom's a couple days a week. And then when I had a chance to do these videos, all of a sudden, I'm not just going, hey, shout out from the hardcore legend. Like, if anyone's seen my cameos, like, I go all out, you know. And have you seen a few of them?
I have. I saw the Dude Love one most recently. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I did Dude losing his composure on a log flume, which I really enjoyed.
I have no context for any of this.
A rap battle between men.
Are they going to start talking about politics soon? Like, let's see.
I'm performing. As opposed to phoning it in. Well, technically, I am phoning it in, but you know what I'm saying. Like I go all out. I try to exceed expectations, and don't get me wrong. I do appreciate the idea for the first time that I don't have to travel hundreds of miles to make a little money. But I love doing them.
See, he's just straight up telling you straight up that the entire point of him. Once he starts to get into bashing Donald Trump, it's going to sound very funny, everything that he said up this first 7 minutes, just like product placement and, oh yeah, I love making ka-ching. And this guy, of course, he's rubbing his hands together. You can't see, but...
I'm like, I wake up like, all right, let me see how many I have, okay?
Yeah.
There might only be 2, but I'm going to make these the best 2 that I can. And let me see what I did. Dude Love sang Anticipation. And as I was singing it, I've got the lyrics up on my tablet. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, yeah, I should have only sang one verse. This is going too long. So I just called an audible where then Dude said, oh, Dude's got to go. And the next thing you know, it's Mankind coming on singing a happy birthday or singing Wise, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. So I'll have a lot of fun. If people want to check out, I ask people, just check out the reviews if you go to cameo.com. / Mick Foley, and it's not just people saying, "Hey, great job." I mean, people really make it clear that they, that they enjoyed the videos.
I will say, because I was at your one-man show SummerSlam weekend last year, and it was one of the coolest things that I'd ever seen live. For you to become Mankind again.
Oh yeah,
where you're on stage,
especially. If I have an event, I remember doing the 20 years of Hell Tour where I go with 8 hours. I walk into the room, let's just say it was a lot closer to 5 than it was 500. Okay. And it's everything you don't want in a venue. And what you do want is, not with COVID now, you don't want low ceilings, tight crowd, but you want lower ceilings, good lighting, dark mood lighting, the kind of seating that fans around the stage. And instead I walk show.
When does he start kvetching about Trump?
Where everything did go wrong. If you come out and you go, oh man, let me tell you, the show is packed. Like, there's no fun in that.
Right.
A lot of boys, they live like my wake up call instead of being like, oh god.
The whole room went silent when you did that.
Yeah, and people get goosebumps, right? It's kind of crazy.
I got right now. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah.
It is cool. Like, I'm glad to hear from your standpoint, because that's not something I've seen on video. I never did that for a show.
Yeah.
So I've never seen what I look like when I do that. But I do know that I really enjoy it. And, in that case, it was 23 people. When I'm doing the cameos, now they'll Mankind.
For the first time, I know we're going to get a lot of documentaries here very soon. I'm sure you're probably going to pop up in some of these, I would imagine. What's it like for you to be able to finally talk about Mark Calloway and shed the mystique of The Undertaker? This is a new time for everybody.
I thought he was going to criticize Trump.
I do, and I try to keep a mystique around it. Even though it's okay to talk about the man behind, behind the character, he is in some ways the character. And
well, this is the kind of guy Nick Hausman is of Wrestling Inc. That's your go-to. Everyone's racist disagrees with you. I actually saw more white people rioting and marching. No, see, this is a conservative. Like, white people didn't do anything wrong to minorities for the past couple hundred years. You have to admit the problem before you can fix it. Basically, so he's saying, like, you deserve to have your city burned down by Blakes because they're angry because people that were also white hundreds of years ago did something. And so the problem is, white people, obviously. This is a moment of reckoning in history for white people in the United States. It's a conversation that we need to be having. Conversation, of course, means that we're going to come and extort your business if you don't throw up the Black Power fist. We will burn your business to the ground. So, and look, you can kind of barely see it in his profile picture. He's got the face mask on, barely covering his fucking nose. So that's fake. Like I said, it's fake. It's branding.
And there is an aura around him. And so I don't know The Undertaker. I don't know Mark as well with Paul Bearer, and The Undertaker's music would go off. I would do what you just did. I would show off the hairs on my arm. Feels like he's got another great one left in the tank, then he should do it.
Yeah, all right. Well, the other one, obviously Undertaker is going to be a Hall of Famer someday. You're a Hall of Famer. One thing I did want to ask you about is a lot of people have been surprised by how outspoken you've been against fellow Hall of Famer Donald Trump.
There it is. There it is. Finally.
A lot of wrestlers don't get as political as you've gotten recently.
Yeah.
Why have you felt the reason to be so outspoken about this?
Yeah.
So he's been outspoken about Trump. Let's see. Give credit where credit is due. The president locked up the white supremacist vote tonight, just in case white supremacists were on the fence before. Right, so with a Jewish family and a Jewish cabinet, lies. All they do is lie, 100% of the time. No exceptions. Just curious, can anyone remember any instance of Donald Trump expressing any concern about the danger of domestic terrorism? Me neither. Yeah, Antifa, domestic terrorists. He wanted to declare them a terrorist organization. At the very least, he gave lip service to that notion, right? I don't think he was successful in doing it. So that was stupid. Just a stupid lack of self-awareness or lying. Doesn't consider BLM or Antifa to be terrorists because he's a liar. But whatever. Dylan Roof was bought Burger King. I don't know. Probably some dumb shit like that. Donald Trump continuously mispronouncing Kamala Harris's name is racist in nature. Is ignorance really on the table when you are the president of the United States, or is it perhaps a simple case of douchebaggery? Who gives a fuck, man? Kamala Harris contributed to the bail funds of arsonists and rapists and murderers and assaulters. I don't give two fucks if Orange Man Bad mispronounced her fucking name. Really don't care. It's not relevant. Okay, whining about masks. Right. This dude's selling masks, and probably, BLM this, masks that, Sacco this, whatever. He probably has a Sacco. Let's look. Mick Foley. Whoops. Mick Foley. Sacco mask. Shopping. Whoa. Mankind. It's pretty fucking absurd. See, this is why stupid idiots, they've convinced themselves this is like fun and games, right? This isn't rapacious global corporations and banks coming in and uprooting your culture and attempting to enslave you in a usury prison. No, it's just fun. It's branding. Buy the product. Eat the mealworm burger. Live in the soy pod, bigot. Drink the cockroach milk. That's what these people are expediting. Okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're killing us with the coof. Yada, yada, yada. So why are you upset about Trump?
I did not intend to get political. I was political in 2003, 2004. I debated JBL on World News Tonight on ABC Live. and I thought we both accounted for ourselves pretty well. I just, then I kind of, as soon as the major issue became the economy, when it fell apart in 2008, I was like, well, I don't know. I could not tell you to this day what a credit default swap is, which was the major reason the economy fell apart. Like
they gave loans to low-income, disparate factions. I guess they gave shitty loans to people who couldn't afford them, and then they ended up defaulting on a bunch of the loans, right?
I can't tell you. No matter how many times I read it, I don't understand it. I'm not at the end.
And the framing is weird, like, oh, Blakes were largely affected by this, therefore that's oppression. But it's like, number one, they signed the dotted line, right? They were probably told what the interest rate was, what the taxes were, what the insurance rate was, what the principal was. It was probably all right fucking there. They have, and it's like, I love the framing, like I was saying, the framing of, oh, you are being put upon or oppressed by being given a loan, which is something that's extremely sought after. But yeah, I mean, usury prison, that's essentially what these motherfuckers want us in. But they're not attacking, they're attacking, like, white people. They're not attacking,
passionate
other
about
tribes.
It. Okay. But in this case, I just see so many things going wrong. And I know that obviously the president has his fans out there, and I realized overnight I lost 50,000 followers at one point just because I suggested that maybe there should be witnesses at a trial. So I understand,
Yeah, no, let's see. We saw what you were suggesting. Oh, this is Nick Hausman. This is the kind of guy this is. Vince couldn't help himself. He just has to do an Antifa angle. Shake my head. Right, because they're the primary instigators at pretty much every rally and non-rally. They just go around fucking with people. We have evidence. Stop lying. Yeah, branded Black Lives Matter trunks, dude. Buy product. Hell yeah, dude. Fucking shitlibs, dude. Neoliberal scum, right? Just globalist, global finance supporting, just brand trend setting scum. And this time it's not like fun, albeit subtly indoctrinating and subversive crap like, oh gee, I don't know, like Marvel or something. No, it's just straight up the ruination of the country. Just, oh cool. Burn cities to the ground. Wear your mask. Right, cool. Make sure you mask up while you burn cities to the ground. Let's not and say we did. Black Lives Matter was formed as a peaceful expression out of exhaustion from being oppressed. Alt-right was formed out of hate and violence. No. BLM was formed out of, bankster-financed 501c3s that went around influencing people via social media to think that Blakes are entitled to go around abusing white people because of slavery, white supremacy, blah, 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 blah. And it formed out of pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. It formed out of going up to random white people while they're eating fucking ice cream and screaming in their faces about whatever, because these people are not articulate. And again, I mean, this guy's wearing a mask extensively. Why does he take his profile pic? I don't know if you can see this. His profile pic shows that his nose is, well, with a schnoz like that, right? But it's over his mask, right? Demonstrating that it's just more pageantry and show and branding and for-profit bullshit.
Rural areas, signing autographs. There's a bunch of great people. They're good people, hardworking people, who probably don't feel the same way about the president that I do, and I understand that, and I would hate to lose some of them, let alone 50, 100,000. That was 50,000 overnight.
Man.
But I thought.
But yeah, you're a bunch of racists, aren't you? So fuck you. Starve and die in the cold, kulaks.
The two dirtiest words in the English language are "what if." I always felt that way, whether it was saying, hey, what if? I don't want to be that guy saying what if 10 years from now, laying on my couch saying, I could have gone out there on stage. I could have worked on it. I could have brought a show alive, So I did my best to do that. And I swear, I don't want a moment where what if I had done something different? You know, what if this president wins by 200 votes, you know, in one state and pushes the electoral college over the line? And I just thought, if you've got the power to do something and you don't do it because you're worried about losing some Twitter followers.
The most this dude and this dude have to worry about is losing a few Twitter followers and being called a cock on Twitter. What does a conservative have to worry about, or an anti-leftist? Losing PayPal, losing Twitter, losing your Teespring account, losing your Patreon. All that's happened to me, by the way. Oh, fuck, I've been kicked off of fucking Tinder, for fuck's sake. Probably because I keep getting 30-day banned on Facebook, which is connected with that. I mean, dude, I'm banned off of tons of stuff for supporting an open out-and-out and profiting off of an out-and-out arsonist, rapist, terrorist organization that occupies major cities. You might lose a few followers.
Then you haven't, you maybe don't have your priorities in order. I just thought this was an extreme time. Everything from a president of the United States with 80 million followers openly mocking someone like Elijah Wood after his house was broken into, to mocking Debbie.
Wait, that happened? I mean, who gives a fuck, though?
Dingle about her husband who had just passed away.
I mean, if Elijah Wood's house is broken into, it's like, okay, but, you know, you're an out-of-touch celebrity who lives in some hill somewhere, right, insulated from the rest of the world, and you probably advocate for open borders policy. That's sort of, when he was talking about rural America, those types of people that he claims to appreciate, probably appreciates the money of, those are the people that have to deal with your shitty, out-of-touch, like, you're racist if you oppose crime in your cities. Like, they're the ones who have to deal with the encroachment of that, like, urbanization and, you know, low-income subsidized housing being built in their small town and changing it and urbanizing it. Not just building big-ass fucking apartment buildings and skyscrapers, but jacking up the taxes, jacking up the cost of living, the crime going up. So these guys are completely out of touch. They're just evil, disgusting liars.
And I just...
No, he's a meanie. He says mean tweets, dude. So therefore you get to be horrible and burn stuff and kill people. I really do not appreciate people who don't understand the gravity of how evil, in particular, arson is. I mean, do we really need to fucking sit here and mansplain to these people how evil it is to burn a building or burn really? Because, dude, it spreads. So you don't think... Do you not care that people that are not involved in this, or maybe they even support you, right? You don't care that they might get burned, physically burned. It's like, you're fucking evil by definition.
So many issues with it. You don't force. Now I'm gonna start whining because you could. I literally bought a scroll so that if I was asked, like, well, what's your issue? Because if it's one issue, then it's easy to bring up. If it's 200 issues, then it becomes, and literally you come up with 200 things without having to work too hard. Things that weren't right with this administration. I wanted to just roll it out and go, do you want me to start alphabetically, chronologically? Sure. You name it. But just in the past few days.
They're not actually going to get to anything ever if they never do.
Fire your FBI guy if he doesn't give you the information you want. Like, I don't think he understands that they don't work for him. He works for us. The FBI works for us. They're not at the Comey.
Except if you're right wing.
Then
they work for, like, abducting you.
That's clear. It's like, you're not supposed to be close with your FBI guy. He's supposed to give you independent information. So every step of the way, from naming the lead juror in a case, like outwardly shaming the guy on his Twitter. Let me just...
Their biggest complaints about Trump are mean tweets. That's all they got.
I know I'm jumping all around.
No, that's fine. Take your time.
These people are horrible. Liars.
Just a guy mocking somebody for having their house broken into. What would be a word you would use to describe that guy?
Hilarious, given the context that Elijah Wood, again, is an out-of-touch, bourgeois, fucking... Hollywood fuck who basically probably advocates for open borders, and then when some beneficiaries of the policies that he advocates for break into his fucking house. Don't you see the irony in that? Funny guy with a tie-dyed shirt and a fucking beard and missing teeth and a sock you shove up people's asses or whatever it is. What the fuck? I hate these people. Heartless. Heartless. Let's look at this fucker. Let's look at this fucker's heartlessness. Okay, children should not be punished for the sins of their parents. This is a plain truth that Barack Obama understood and Trump doesn't. Save DACA. But meanwhile, too many white people scared they're going to be treated the way they treated minorities their whole lives. Food for thought. Vote. Okay, so the DACA kids shouldn't be punished for their so-called parents being, perhaps like child traffickers, not actually their parents, right? We know that that's real. But, okay, let's not even, think of that. Let's not think of drug trafficking, human trafficking, their parents fucked up, whatever it is. Children shouldn't be punished for the sins of their parents. Oh, yeah, white people. There's a reckoning. He said that earlier in another tweet. There's a reckoning coming for white people. And just justifying riots and violence. And, yeah, privilege, equality feels like oppression, so, right. Too many liberals that don't practice anything they preach. At least they're honest. Because the entire position is a lie and it's untenable, probably. That's why nobody practices it. Yeah, mandatory gun buyback. We'll get to that one. Justice for George Floyd. George Floyd OD'd, in case you didn't know. Black Lives Matter. To whom? Not to Blake's. Chicago protests. They burn shit. They attack people. Of course you have to wear your mask. These people are horrible, man. These people are disgusting, arson and rape and murder supporting dog shit heaps. I mean, I don't have a deficit of words.
Right? DB, you name it.
Heartless jerk. Oh, no, see. Notice how they don't even bother there's no genuine passion or desire to do well amongst these people. It's just fake, hollow virtue signaling and branding. And that's how you know.
Same guy has 80 million followers who are going to change the life of that person you're mocking. Who are going to make their life a living.
I can't jog. Yeah, you can't jog in case houses. You can't breathe while you're fighting with a cop and grabbing for his fucking shit.
Hell,
OD or like ODing on a drug that you took.
That's just a person of indescribable cruelty. So when the president says I retweet, I don't tweet. For example, when I got off Twitter, here's my big exclusive for you guys. I got off Twitter for 6 weeks a while back, and there were two things that did it. It was the death of the young lady in Japan by suicide due to bullying. Kimura was her last name, I think.
Bro, suicide and bullying are not really, causally related.
And the other one was
but these guys are going to use bullying to virtue signal, and just everything about these people is just slime incarnate. It's just using the prestige of being perceived as an advocate for a perceived downtrodden group to just be a huckster piece of shit, slime bucket. That's the left, dude.
The president retweeted something by the Republican Cowboys. I have their names written down somewhere, where the guy said, the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat.
Based?
And then immediately goes, I know they're going to try to take my words out of context. And I was like, no, wait. I make a living using words. Those words are always meant to be taken literally. They were from the time a former Civil War general was told by a Native American in 1869 that there are some good Indians out there. And the guy said, well, the only good Indians I've seen are dead Indians. And then
they were fucking fighting. Who gives a fuck?
Taken into the
Democrats want to burn cities, dude. They are subhuman monsters. I think at the very least, dude, if you're financing or profiting off of this BLM crap, or if you are on the street level, I think you do deserve federal pound me in the ass fucking prison sentences. 100%. And some people might want to take it a little bit further and meme and say hey, they deserve something. They deserve something a little bit more mortal. Okay, hey, listen. Let's take a fucking page out of the left's book, shall we? The left's strategy book. What do they do all the time? They demand something way in the stratosphere, way out of whack, right? Like way up to the stars. realistically, you're not going to get everything you demand, right? But you're going to get way less. You're going to get like maybe half-seas, right? That's what radicals do. They demand the stars and they get, maybe the treetops, right? Maybe this guy, the only dead Dem is a, good Dem's dead Dem. Maybe he's just doing that same thing progressives are doing, right? Like, you demand their state execution. Maybe what you end up with is just a round of firings, right? You end up with some prison time, right? It's just food for thought.
Indian, the dead Indian.
The state repression of leftist activities should be, I think, a priority for any sane administration, because they've demonstrated time and time again that they're just intrinsically violent and destructive and terroristic. So
the only good, you name it, the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi. The only good, it's meant.
But you believe in that, but you keep saying that there are Nazis when there are not Nazis. So that would be the main difference.
To be taken literally. Right. And I thought, this guy has set the bar so low for civility that particular retweet didn't even get a considerable amount of attention. And I just thought, how far have we fallen that a president could retweet that and say, hey, see you in New Mexico, or see you in November. And I thought, wow, he's got 80 million followers. I think, as a guy who uses words and has written 11 books and been a pretty effective communicator, even without my bottom teeth, that those words are meant to be taken literally. Now you've got a guy.
But they want to normalize fucking kids. So.
Guy who's saying.
They want to normalize genital mutilation and gender confusion amongst children via the transgender movement. And you're standing here. Oh, that's not civility. Well, this is what they're going to say about you, right-wingers, non-leftists, regardless of what you do, man. Just do, you know what? Nike, just do it.
By hitting retweet, you are endorsing that viewpoint.
By retweeting.
You can't say you're just putting it out.
But you should. You certain viewpoints, I think, should be endorsed.
When you're the president of the United States and you retweet something, you are endorsing it. So if you got 80 million followers, you just do the math. It's like, okay, what if 1 in 100 took you literally about the possibility of killing Democrats?
What if? We don't need what if, dude. We got videos of the Democrats doing just that. What the fuck? We don't need what ifs.
Now you do the math, right? You've got 800,000 potential people taking that seriously. What if it's 1 in 1,000? You get down to
we already got evidence of people following Maxine Waters' fucking blatant instructions to go fuck with people. What the fuck? These people are horrible.
What we need is 8 people with rifles, and they can terrorize a nation based on what one guy said. And if people go, hey, are you taking this too far? I go, no, like I did some studying, like on Rwanda. They killed 750,000 people with 250,000 machetes.
Blake's?
Not a single gunshot. And we've got a nation armed to the teeth, and we've got a guy fomenting violence, asking white nationalist groups to stand back and stand by, using,
lies. No. Okay, so the Proud Boys are not a white nationalist group. That's what he's referring to. He's referring to the very, flamboyant, shall we say, multiracial fucking group, the Proud Boys, and he's saying he's characterizing Trump telling the Proud Boys to stop as coded language of telling them to do things violent. This guy's a fucking lying idiot piece of shit. Garbage. Coded language to let them know, right?
You're gonna be okay. You can go and say.
Yeah, tell that to, what's his name, Rufio, or, tell that to any of the Proud Boys. Yeah, they're going to be okay. Dude, these people are fucking going to be screwed. They've been screwed for sticking up for the president. There's people who've lost their jobs for sticking up for the president,
4 days later that you...
Just for simply tweeting Trump is your president, people lose their jobs. This guy's a lying sack of shit, dude.
That you condemn white nationalism, but they know. They know as soon as they hear stand back and stand by, that they can do whatever they want.
That's the exact opposite. What a liar.
And the president's going to look the other way. So
what a lying scumfuck sack of shit. It's the exact fucking opposite. He tells them to stop, and he's saying, oh, well, what he's telling them is actually the opposite. He's telling them that he can do whatever they want.
I just think it's a really dangerous
Take
situation.
your pills, Boomer.
I barely chimed in 2000. In 2008, I had something to say. I was a big Obama supporter.
Sure.
2012, I stood back. I don't know if I even tweeted about it. I may have once or twice. 2016, I warned people not to do what I think they were about to do, which they did.
Yeah.
And this time around, I'm like, I'm sorry. I have never heard him express concern about the environment. I've never heard him talk about global warming.
Because it's a fucking stupid minor issue that's fucking politicized up the ass. It doesn't matter. How about you stop advocating for mass immigration, because a whole bunch of these people are going to come through and buy more cars and be taxi drivers and Uber drivers and stuff like that. Okay, all of a sudden you don't give a fuck about the environment because you're lying. All progressives ever do is lie 100% of the time without exception. I don't know who Glenn Jacobs is, honestly, but he stopped being a fan of after peeping one of his FB live town halls while running for mayor. He ragged sanctuary cities and played into white angst against immigrants. The fact that pro wrestling has thrown their arms around him as someone who moved up into politics is sad. No, it's actually cool because he's sticking up for people that are not hook-nosed. So that's cool. Oh yeah, children should not be punished for their ancestors, but white people should be punished. By the way, this country needs a mandatory gun buyback program for automatic guns, and anyone who doesn't comply should be incarcerated. That's already the law, dude. Wait, is this one of these shitlibs who's under the impression that automatic guns are legal? Bloodshed needs to stop. Too many young white men with issues. Seek help if you need it. Vote. Okay, so many things wrong with that. Okay, 1350, yada yada yada, per capita, yada yada yada. Everybody who watches channels like mine already know it's Blake's and Hispanic gang activity. That's the main thrust of gun violence in the country, right? Everybody who's not a fucking lying idiot sack of shit understands that. Not this guy. But apparently also guys like this think that, honestly, dude, sadly, seek help if you need it. Okay, that's just him being, again, like typical lefty bourgeois, out of touch asshole, right? Seek help if you need it. Okay, yeah, as if everybody can just fucking do that, right? As if white men were vilified and pathologized, as if they have a psychological or like mental health apparatus that is helping them with open arms, right, dude? I guarantee you, dude, you're like a right-leaning white dude who goes into a psychiatrist's office and you tell them, like, yeah, dude, all these people denigrating me for being white and male, like, I'm not really dealing well with this. I guarantee you, dude, it's just going to be one big gaslighting and abuse session. Like, that's what your quote-unquote therapy will be. They're just going to fucking re-blue pill you. That's all it would be, essentially. In my opinion. Obviously, this is not medical advice or anything. In my opinion, medicine in general is saturated with people that agree with these psychos. Yeah, Jeff Wyatt, very based, replies with, too many young white men? Okay. You disagree? Wow, dude straight up says, you disagree? Are you colorblind to people who keep shooting up large groups of people? No, we're not colorblind. It's Blake's in Chicago. But this guy's not even that base. It's all the same. Hundreds die and are shot in Chicago every weekend. Still gun violence. We're in the same boat. Accept. I haven't labeled you smug, ignorant, colorblind. Yeah, but you should be. You should be calling him a lying charlatan piece of shit. You made me feel bad, therefore I'm right. It's pretty much the GOP platform. No, that's you. You made me feel bad about my gender identity, therefore I get to go terrorize and shut down your right-wing event and I get to burn a city down. No, that's the leftist platform. Stop lying. Stop projecting. This guy retorts with, I'm a registered Democrat. So that's why he's not quite as based as, he should be. He recognizes, okay, there's just blatant anti-white guy stuff that's warrantless. It's not congruent with history. It's not congruent with statistics. It's not based in any sort of physical, observable reality. Still a Democrat for some reason. Have no idea why. You reflect on your own self-righteousness, and I'll reflect as well. You have a good day, sir. Yeah, self-righteous, I got it. I tweet out solutions and acknowledge the rise of young, angry white men as an issue. It's not true. It's a cherry-picked media thing in this country, and you played it down. You later claimed it was an issue after I had to call you out several times for dodging the issue. Unreal. No, he didn't. He didn't actually concede any of your points because you're misrepresenting statistics and you're taking cherry-picked, like, overhyped media clips, and you're acting as if they're the rule, right? He's probably the kind of person who bitches about fucking Dylan Roof being served Burger King. You know, that fucking stupid fucking meme that won't die on the left. The whole idea that, oh, if it was a white guy or if it was a black guy, they would have just shot him dead. It's like, well, what about all the other examples we have of Blakes who probably I mean, like, it would have been understandable if they had, but didn't get shot, okay? And what about all the times where white guys like Daniel Shaver, who shouldn't get shot, do get shot, right? So they never consider that because they're liars. And they want to push the notion that Dylan Roof being served Burger King is like an example of some sort of injustice, right? And they won't let that talking point go. But it's just lies, right? Guys like that go quietly, right? Whereas, like, Blakes, they like to fight. So we know, people that are smart, we know that the common denominator is not race. I mean, it is, but it's because certain factions are really into fighting with cops. I mean, they just have it sort of as a cultural mainstay. But
never
anyway,
heard him condemn Putin for the possibility that he put bounties on our service members in Afghanistan. I've never heard him express concern that Putin's leading rival was poisoned. He said he'd look into it. Does anyone really believe he looked into it? No. I believe he's compromised. If he's not compromised, he does a good job of...
Whoa, hey, can you cool it with the anti-Semitic, thinly veiled remarks, Mick Foley? Oy vey, he's compromised.
Acting like...
I mean, next you're going to start saying that, you know, bankers finance his campaigns. I mean, we all know. I mean, that's just a thinly veiled anti-Semitic dog whistle, right?
Somebody who's compromised.
Oh, whoa, compromised.
You know, again, 20 years from now, if someone asks me what I did, because I do believe we'll be studying this in history, how things went terribly wrong.
Oh, God, can you imagine? Yeah, he's right. Can you imagine what the history books are going to say? The disgustingly just dishonest revisionism that future generations are going to get. Unbelievable, dude. That's why, okay, back up videos like, not just like mine. If any of you fucking spargs out there got like a big fat terabyte hard drive or a stack of them, download like my videos. I mean, anyone, Sticks, anyone, just download these videos and back them up, because we're probably going to get wiped in the history books, as this guy just told us with this creepy, disgusting, toothless grin, and this hobo beard. Holy fuck. He told us that that revisionism coming up.
Good people do nothing.
He's right.
So
yeah, and I hate to cut you off, Mike. I know I only have like a few minutes left here because you have to go get your teeth worked on, and we all want your teeth to be very, very healthy.
Yeah, I lost my flipper. It's not. Eventually, Dr. Britt Baker is going to do the the dental work, and that's a story in and of itself. But this is just a case of me losing the flipper, and fortunately, I'm in a position where I can go on with my life with this smile, because all it is a unique reminder of that match with the Undertaker.
Sure.
But so I do have to do that shortly, and I have a bird. Man, I was looking out a little bit earlier. I was like, "There's a cat attack!" And I rushed out, and I rescued.
Just rescuing kittens because they're such good, virtuous people. Oh, they love black rioters and arsonists and murderers and rapists, and they save kittens. Oh, by the way, buy their stuff. This dude chiming in about rioters and looters, right? He's moved and proud. Oh, wow, awesome. These people, man, reckoning is right. We need a reckoning, but not in the way these people are saying.
the bird. It's a mourning dove. It's in a box. And so
you rescued a dove this morning, Mick?
You're damn right I did. Yeah.
Christ, you're wonderful.
And now I'm going to bring it.
You're wonderful. Aren't we so great?
A bunch of years ago, my son Mickey. This is 10 years ago, so he was like 9. He found these birds that had fallen out of a nest in a storm. They were, but
the question I would ask you was, I guess, the $1 million questions a lot of wrestling fans would ask when they see you say these things is like, Vince and Linda are, very, very close with the president. Linda going as far as to
Right. So after this dude just got done bashing Middle America and everything they stand for and lying incessantly, it's like he has to follow it up by, I rescued a dove and I'm awesome. These people are just so self-evidently just coated in Teflon. It's just so fake. And it's not just, okay, yeah, he's an entertainer, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody's fake, Dan. You're fake. You're on screen. You put up a persona of some sort. Fine, yeah. But dude, there's nothing of truth or substance in anything that these people have to say at all. Everything was a lie.
Does that affect the relationship? Do you worry about it affecting the relationship? How does Vince and Linda view the politics of the people that are in their orbit? I mean, what is that like, being in that space?
Well, I think Vince has respected my viewpoint for a couple decades now.
Yeah, if you respected his, no.
I don't think
just lie about
it. Wants everybody to agree with him just because he's Mr. McMahon.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I haven't lost a single friend in wrestling. I went and campaigned for Glenn Jacobs, because I think Glenn is a really good man, and that's what we should be. I tweeted out something yesterday showing a state. It was a state race, not a national race. May have even been a local race, but it was 2 competitors, a Republican and a Democrat, who had very different views for their area of Vermont. And then after their debate, the one guy broke out a guitar, the Democrat broke out a cello, and they did a duet. And I tweeted, "That's the America I want to live in."
Platitudinous nonsense, right? Platitudinous nonsense, like people that want to kill babies and sacrifice foreskins to the devil, versus a group that, does that, wants to do that more slowly, I guess. Yeah, these people should get together and have a hoedown, right? That's going to solve everything.
We shouldn't be at each other's throats because we think differently. But in my opinion, this guy, the President of the United States, having unfettered access to the public for the past 5 years, it's to me, it's a not so subtle form of brainwashing. Just come out and repeat the same mantras over and over.
The same mantras over and over and over, like no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. When again, his family is and cabinet are heavily Jewish. Cabinet was, family is.
Whether it's
insane.
Perfect.
Golan Heights, etc., etc. We were talking about that in the Devil's Advocate radio thing. We were talking about that Christian nationalist asshole, or anti-Christian nationalist asshole.
Letter, the perfect letter, rounding the corner, hoax. And I think, what he has done to this country in terms of just dividing us over a mask is, it's really sad.
The entire effect of masks is division. It's antisocial. It's causing people to go crazy and depressed and kill themselves.
People are going to look back on history and go, wait a second, you could have saved 100,000 lives and didn't?
God.
Because people didn't want to wear a mask.
You piece of shit. Dude, the masks and the shutdowns, we know, have caused infinitely more wreckage, okay? These fuckers who wear the masks and are the social enforcers of all this mask shit, Antifa and BLM, their riots and their looting have ruined countless more fucking lives. And he's kvetching about a fucking coof that has an overinflated fucking death toll, right? We all know that. Comorbidity, etc., etc. Dude, it kills less than a 10th or 100th of percentage of the fucking people that it comes in contact with. This is horse shit, dude.
That's why
masks don't do shit. We all know it doesn't fucking actually stop the spread. If it did, it would have been done after the first 15 days, like they said. But it's been going on for a fucking year, dude.
I put out a video that really resonated.
People are
dude.
fucking
Went over
liars.
1 million views. The only time I've had anything.
Yeah, it is way more. You're right, flea market floppy disk. It's way more than just a mask. It's another level of losing freedoms. It is. They're making you blow snot directly back into your own fucking face for a lot of these working class people for 8 hours a day. Does this fucking jackass, do either of these fucking assholes have to sit behind a counter, right, at CVS working some Mick job with a fucking mask over their face for a 6 to 8 hour shift? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I didn't think they have to do that.
Remotely close to 1 million views about wearing a mask, despite the fact that it's not comfortable. And the key line there was, I wear it because I care more about your safety than I do about my comfort.
Oh, I wear it because I'm such a good person and I want to make money.
And I wish
God, I
people
hate them.
Felt the same way about me. So,
I think it is morally righteous to hate people like this, okay? We should hate these people and love people that oppose these people. I mean, that's just, obviously we're going to be a little bit more discerning. Just because you oppose these people doesn't make you a good person, right? Or even a halfway decent person. But I think that the main, baseline requirement for being a minimally decent person is recognizing right away that these people are fucking horrible.
There's a lot riding on this election, and I don't want to be the guy saying I could have, I should have, I would have. I want to be the guy who does.
Sure. All right. Well, Mick, I sincerely thank you for the time.
Right side of history. Fucking no more. I'm getting sick, dude. But anyway, if you want to see me break down some sort of video, go to subscribestar.com/DuerstTheWorst. Throw me $9. The $9 tier, or any tier, really. I'll throw you stickers. But yeah, throw me $9 or more per month, and I'll break down pretty much anything you want. Within reason, if it's not going to get me banned. But yeah, subscribestar.com/DuerstTheWorst, or any of the other donation links that still let me fucking operate. But yeah, this was actually pretty fun and cathartic. But I'll probably be streaming with B&B. Or someone somewhere, or maybe doing another Devil's Advocate stream within the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that.